Who needs Palo Alto when you've got Des Moines, right? Is Silicon Valley losing hot new startups to Silicon Prairie? We know a prairie might sound like an unlikely setting for startups, but startups are now calling the Midwest home. With its growing network of investors and long list of startups, the Prairie is the new center of innovation. One Silicon Prairie startup is literally giving shopping a makeover for men. It's called Men's Style Lab. It's helping revamp men's wardrobes one box at a time. We have the CEO of Men's Style Lab, Derian Baugh, joining us in a Fox Business exclusive. Derian, you're giving up Mountain View and Palo Alto for Des Moines. Let's talk about the opportunity here and why you decided to set up shop there.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me on the show.
Sure.
You know, Des Moines has a lot to offer that most people overlook. But of course, as mentioned earlier, there's a presidential campaign that always runs through Iowa, and it sort of gives this national consciousness to the area of Des Moines, but it also provides some additional exposure to startups that are here. And so I think that there's a great mix of opportunity for people that are wanting to venture off and start a company without necessarily the high associated cost of moving someplace like Silicon Valley.
Oh, yeah. You can't even afford the rents anymore in Silicon Valley. In fact, the rents in San Francisco are now slightly lower than those in Silicon Valley. So we get it. But don't you need access to an entrepreneurial spirit? And where is that? That's in Des Moines right now? Give me some real oomph about that.
Yeah, absolutely. There's definitely a number of startups in Des Moines that call Des Moines and call Iowa and the Silicon Prairie home. We have a space called Gravitate, which is essentially the gravitational epicenter of the entrepreneurial ecosystem based in Des Moines, and it houses about a dozen or more startups all within the same building. We're constantly running into each other. It's actually where Men's Style Lab is located, within the same vicinity, and there's a real ethos to what's going on and excitement about what's going on. We've been recently named one of the best places to start a business, one of the best places to raise a family. The cost of doing business is substantially lower than it is in other parts of the country. And so we're able to retain really high quality top talent because the unemployment rate is substantially lower than it is elsewhere in the country. But the cost of living means that not all of your money is just going to cover your rent or your car payment. You can actually go out and have a good lifestyle, good quality life, in addition to having a great place to live and work.
Well, let's talk about Men's Style Lab. We're done with the commercial for Des Moines, right? I mean, we want to hear about your company, because this is a company that already has partnerships with Kohl's and Macy's. It reminds me of a company we used to have on here before it was bought by Nordstrom, and that was Trunk Club, the Trunk Club for men. You guys put up to 12 items for fashion. You're almost a stylist in a box for men into a box, and then they can either keep some of them, all of them, or return it. How are you doing with this business? Talk about your growth if you can.
Yeah, absolutely. So the basic gist of what we do is we put clothes in a box and we send it to guys all over the country who hate to shop. And fortunately for us, there's a lot of guys who fit into that demographic. And even we've been referred to as the single guy's girlfriend. So we're not limited in any facet. We're just here to help guys feel good and feel great about how they look and look better. In terms of relationships with other businesses and partners, basically the way that we make money is we purchase clothes at wholesale and we sell them at retail. And we've been really fortunate to attract some key investors along the way who are former executives at Macy's, at Kohl's, as you mentioned. We have the former CEO of a retailer known as Mervyn's that's also invested in an advisor on our board. So we feel really well backed by some real experts in the industry, and the future is looking bright. We're on pace to do at least 4 times or more what we did in our sales last year, and guys are continuing to find out about our service as well as reuse our service once they've got a connection with one of our style advisors.
The company is called Men's Style Lab, and you're entrenched in Des Moines, Iowa. Forget Palo Alto and Stanford and Berkeley. You say you're there in the Midwest, Silicon Prairie. Visit us again, Derian. Thanks so much.
Will do. Thank you.
Derian Baugh, Men's Style Lab CEO. And